The warning ignored, the Galactic Council chamber was filled with light and sound. 1,000 voices of different species echoing together. Yet one voice stood out, the voice of the human ambassador. He stood at the center of the chamber, tall, calm, and sharp-eyed. His words cut through the laughter and whispers like a blade. Humanity will not remain silent. We warned you, if you continue to push Earth. If you continue to insult and restrict us, you will regret it. The council members laughed. A booming sound of claws hitting desks, tails slapping the air, and strange alien throats howling with amusement. To them, humanity was nothing more than a small, young race that had risen from a blue planet on the edge of the galaxy. Regret? One alien counselor hissed. His skin glittered like scales under the light. You speak of regret, little human? You should be grateful we even allow your kind to sit here. The human ambassador did not flinch. He did not bow his head. Instead, he met their eyes with quiet fire. You believe Earth is weak. You believe our species is nothing but noise and dust. But know this, when humanity marches, we do not march alone. We carry the memory of every insult, every wound, every betrayal. Silence filled the chamber for a moment. Then laughter erupted again. Louder this time. They thought it was a bluff. They thought the human was simply trying to sound brave. The Chancellor of the Council, a tall, insectoid being with shining mandibles, leaned forward and tapped his claws on the table. Your species is small. Your fleets are small. Your history of war is short compared to ours. Humanity cannot frighten the Council. Humanity cannot frighten the galaxy. But in the corner of the chamber, a different voice whispered, it belonged. To an old alien advisor with pale skin and tired eyes, he spoke so quietly that only those near him could hear, what if they are not bluffing? The words went unnoticed by most, but those who heard them felt a strange chill in their bones. The human ambassador turned without another word. His boots echoed across the floor as he walked out of the council chamber. He did not bow. He did not wait for dismissal. He left behind only silence and unease. Outside the chamber, the ambassador activated a small communicator on his wrist. His voice was low but steady. Message received. Begin Phase 1. Far away. On the edges of Earth's colonies, lights began to shine in hidden shipyards. Massive shadows of starships rose into the dark, their hulls forged with new metals, their weapons sharper than anything the galaxy had seen. Workers moved day and night without rest. Soldiers drilled with grim focus. Every insult the Council had thrown at humanity became fuel for the fire. Back inside the council chamber, the laughter slowly faded as the meeting continued. But unease grew. Reports had already begun to arrive from border colonies' humans buying strange amounts of resources. Humans drilling fleets in silence. Humans moving faster than expected. They are preparing for war, one officer muttered during the report, but the council brushed it off. They are preparing for survival. Nothing more, the chancellor snapped. But deep inside, some members of the council were not so certain. Late that night, in the dark corridors of the council's central tower, 2 alien officers spoke in hushed voices. You saw their eyes. One whispered, the humans, they are not bluffing. They cannot win. The other replied quickly, it is impossible. The first officer shook his head. You do not understand. They fight differently. They fight as if nothing else matters. Back on Earth, silence covered the oceans and skies. But under the surface, humanity moved like a storm preparing to break. Children were taught not just words, but history of wars fought and survived, of mistakes turned into lessons, factories turned to war. Machines, orbiting docks built fleets that had never been seen before. The human ambassador returned home to Earth and stood on the balcony of the United Government's tower. He looked down at the burning lights of the city's millions of humans, working, planning, preparing. They still think we are weak, he said quietly. A general beside him answered, "Then let them believe it. It will make our march easier." The night sky was filled with stars, but among them, new lights were rising, ships leaving orbit. Forming patterns like hunters in the dark, the council had ignored the warning. They had laughed, they had mocked, but in doing so, they had awoken something they could not control. And far across the galaxy, whispers began to spread from world to world, from taverns, markets, and war rooms. The words were simple, but they carried weight like thunder. The humans are marching. The council would soon learn that they had ignored the wrong warning, and by the time they realized, it would already be too late. Asterisk shadows of preparation, the council laughed during the day, but at night their advisors whispered in fear. Strange. Reports kept arriving, reports they could not explain. On the outer edges of space, near forgotten colonies, something was moving. Human ships, once small and fragile, now traveled in groups. Their hulls glowed with strange new alloys. Their weapons were hidden but heavy. Their movements were quiet, too quiet. No council fleet was able to stop them. When a scout tried to follow, it never returned. Only fragments of broken metal were found drifting in the dark. Back on Earth, the world was changing. Entire cities had turned into factories. Every building hummed with power. From orbit, Earth no longer looked like a peaceful blue planet. It looked like a world preparing for war. Inside a secret shipyard on the dark side of the moon, engineers worked day and night. Sparks lit the sky as giant starships were born. Their designs were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, sharp, strong, brutal. Built not for show, but for survival, General Kieran, the commander of Earth's defense, walked through the hangar with heavy steps. Around him stood thousands of soldiers. Their armor gleamed black and silver. Their eyes were sharp and unbroken. He raised his voice. "The council thinks we are weak. They think our history is short. They think we will bend and bow, but we will not bend. We will march, and the galaxy will remember us." The soldiers struck their fists to their chests. The sound echoed like thunder. Far away, in a council war room, alien generals argued. Holograms of human fleets flickered in the air. "They are building too fast," one hissed. "They do not have the resources for this," another argued. "But they do," the oldest general whispered. "They trade, they steal, they adapt. They learn faster than anyone else." Fear spread across the room, but pride crushed it quickly. "They are only humans," the chancellor declared. "We will crush them when the time comes." But not all believed. One alien officer, a reptilian, named Voras, left the chamber in silence. His claws shook as he activated his private log. They do not see it. They do not understand. The humans are not preparing for defense. They are preparing for something greater. Meanwhile, in the Alehai, far reaches of space, human scouts moved through abandoned war zones. They collected weapons from dead empires. They studied ancient wrecks. They rebuilt forgotten technology. Every piece was added to their growing arsenal. In the deep oceans of Earth, hidden under the waves, massive carriers were being constructed. Their launch would shake the seas apart. Above the clouds, invisible stations floated in silence, ready to drop fire from the skies. And in the heart of the United Government Tower, the human ambassador stood once more before Earth's leaders. His voice was steady. "They think we are children playing with sticks. They will not see our blade until it is already at their throat." The president of Earth leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Then let them sleep in comfort. Let them laugh while they can. When we rise, we will rise as a storm." At that moment, alarms rang across a hidden colony on the edge of council space. An alien patrol ship had discovered something strange, an entire human fleet stationed near a dead star. The patrol sent out a warning, but before the message reached the council, the fleet moved, silent, fast, and merciless. The patrol ship was torn apart within seconds, but in its final moment, its black box transmitted a single recording. The image of hundreds of human warships, their engines burning like fire, forming into perfect formation, ready to strike. When the council received the recording, silence fell. Even the Chancellor's mandibles stopped clicking. The chamber froze. As the holoscreen replayed the image again and again, the humans were not bluffing. The humans were not waiting. They were preparing for war. The whispers grew louder across the galaxy. In trade stations, in slave markets, in pirate dens, everywhere, the same words spread like a shadow. The humans are building something terrible. And for the first time, even the Council's oldest members felt a shiver crawl down their spines. Because deep down, they realized the truth. They had ignored the warning, and now the shadows of war were already moving. Asterisk. The first strike the galaxy thought humanity was still gathering strength. But they were wrong. Humanity had already chosen the first target. It was a council colony called Zyran 4, a proud world covered in golden towers and rich mines. No one believed humans would dare touch it. The colony was guarded by a strong fleet. Its defenses were layered. The council called it unbreakable. One night, without warning, the sky above Zyran 4 turned red. Thousands of human warships fell from hyperspace, like hunters breaking through the dark. Their engines burned bright. Their hulls gleamed with new alloys no one had seen before. The alien fleet scrambled to respond. Commanders shouted, "Weapons!" Lit up, but they were already too late. Human missiles moved faster than their sensors could track. Railguns tore through shields like they were paper. Entire ships split apart in silence, their wrecks drifting into fire within minutes. The alien fleet was gone, wiped out with brutal precision. The golden towers of Zyran 4 shook as human troops descended. Armored, silent, unstoppable, they did not speak. They did not threaten. They moved like machines powered by rage and memory. Civilians hid in fear, watching from windows as human banners were raised across their cities. For the first time in history, a council world had fallen in hours, not years. Back at the council chamber, panic exploded. Holoscreens showed the burning ruins of Zyran 4. Alien leaders shouted over one another, claws, wings, and tails thrashing in fury. "This is impossible." One screamed, "No fleet falls this quickly." Another roared. The Chancellor slammed the table, his mandibles clicking with rage. "They dare strike at us? We will crush them at once." But before his words could calm the chamber, a recording appeared on the holoscreen. It was transmitted directly from Zyran 4. A single message carved into the city square by human hands. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of thunder. "This is only the beginning." Silence spread across the chamber. The laughter that once filled the halls was gone, replaced by fear. For the first time, the council realized humanity was not bluffing. Far away, General Kieran stood aboard the human flagship, his eyes cold as he looked at the burning colony beneath him. "They thought we would wait," he said. The captain beside him answered, "Now they know we strike first." At that same moment, whispers rippled through the galaxy. Smugglers, pirates, traders all carried the news across the stars. "The humans took a council world," they whispered, "and they did it in one night." In taverns and marketplaces, fear grew. If the council could not stop Earth, who could? Inside the council's private war room, the oldest advisor's voice shook. "We ignored their warning. We mocked them. Now they move like predators, and we are the prey." But still, pride blinded the leaders. They are reckless. The Chancellor spat. "One world means nothing. We will crush them with 1,000 fleets." Yet in the shadows of the chamber, not all agreed. Some saw the truth. The humans had not just attacked. They had announced their march to war. And worse, they were winning on Earth. Celebrations were silent. There was no cheering, no songs, only determination. Soldiers sharpened their blades. Workers built faster. Children whispered in schools, This is only the beginning, and as fleets prepared to move again, a darker rumor began to spread through the Council's intelligence network. A rumor of something greater than fleets, greater than weapons, something the humans were hiding, something they were building in the dark, but no one knew what it was. Not yet. The galaxy held its breath, because the first strike was over, but the real war had only just begun. Asterisk the supercarrier awakens. The fall of Xiron 4 shook the galaxy, but humanity was not finished. The first strike was only a warning. Something far greater was waiting in the shadows. For years, hidden beneath Earth's oceans and deep within secret shipyards on the moon, humanity had been building a weapon unlike anything the stars had ever seen. It was called the Aegis, a name whispered only among the highest commanders. The Aegis was not just a ship, it was a moving world, larger than any council vessel, longer than a chain of cities. Its engines could blacken the sky, its weapons could tear through entire fleets with a single volley. The council first learned of it through fragments. A spy brought back shaky images of a shadow rising from Earth's seas. Waves higher than mountains crashed around it as its black hole cut through the water. Lights burned across its surface like a second sun. When the recording reached the council chamber, silence fell. No one laughed now, no one mocked. Instead, fear filled their voices. "It cannot be real," one muttered. "No race could build something so large in so little time," another argued. But the oldest advisor whispered the truth. "It is real, and it is awake, on Earth." The launch of the Aegis was a moment carved in history. Millions watched from the shores as the ocean split open. The supercarrier rose higher and higher, water falling like rain from its sides. Its hull shone black, scarred with iron and fire. Its engines lit the night sky. General Kieran stood on its bridge. His eyes reflected the glow of the stars. His voice was low but sharp. "Today, the galaxy will see the shape of our march." The Aegis moved into orbit, slow and unstoppable. Smaller human fleets surrounded it, like wolves guarding their king. Together, they blotted out the stars. Far away, a council fleet was ordered to intercept. 50 warships moved toward human space, confident they could crush any resistance. But when they arrived, they found themselves staring into a shadow larger than their entire armada. The Aegis opened fire, not with hundreds of weapons, but with a single massive railgun. The shot cut across space like a lightning strike. 10 ships vanished instantly, torn apart before their crews could scream. Panic filled the council fleet. They turned their weapons on the supercarrier, but their blasts did nothing. The Aegis did not even slow. It moved forward like a mountain drifting through space. The council's commander shouted orders, but the comms were filled with static. The human fleets had jammed their systems. In silence, the council ships were destroyed one by one. Their wrecks burned, their remains drifted. The galaxy watched. In horror, back at the council chamber, the chancellor slammed his claws on the table. His voice cracked with rage. How did they build this? How did we not see it? But no answer came. Instead, another message appeared on the holoscreen. Transmitted directly from the Aegis, General Kieran's face filled the chamber. His words were cold. "We asked for peace. You gave us mockery. You gave us chains. Now we march. And nothing you have can stop us." The message ended, leaving only silence. Across the galaxy, fear became legend. Merchants whispered in markets. Pirates muttered in bars. Soldiers trembled in their barracks. "They have a ship that blocks out suns," they said. "A ship that kills fleets in minutes." Even species that had once been enemies of Earth began to question their alliances. If humanity could build such power in silence, what else were they hiding? Inside the council's private chambers, one advisor finally spoke the truth. "We did not just awaken a new enemy. We have awakened the storm, and it is already here." And out in the cold void of space, the Aegis moved silently, its engines glowing like the eyes of a predator, It was not rushing. It was not chasing. It was waiting, because humanity knew the Council's pride would force them to gather everything they had, and when that happened, the Aegis would be ready. Asterisk. The war across stars, the Aegis, was no longer a secret. The galaxy had seen it, the Council had felt its fire, but they believed it was only one ship, one weapon, one symbol. They were wrong. Behind the shadow of the Aegis, Earth had built fleets. In silence, dozens of carriers, hundreds of destroyers, thousands of smaller ships. They had been hidden across colonies, buried in asteroids, cloaked inside dead stars. Now, all at once, they moved. The first strike had been shocking, but what followed shook the galaxy to its core. On the same night, across 5 different systems, human fleets appeared on the desert. World of Tarvos. The sky split open as human carriers rained down fire. Alien cities turned to ash in moments on the icy colony of Dravuan. Council garrisons woke to silence. The human fleet had already cut their power grids and surrounded them before they fired a single shot. On the rich mining moons of Vera, human ground troops stormed the tunnels with terrifying precision, their armor black, their visors glowing. They moved like shadows, leaving behind nothing but silence and banners. It was not just one attack. It was many. A storm of steel and fire. The Council watched in disbelief as reports flooded their chambers. Systems falling, fleets vanishing, defenses collapsing, entire sectors burning with human fire. They cannot be everywhere at once. One commander shouted, "But they are," whispered another, voice shaking. The truth was clear. Humanity had done something no species had ever done before. They fought on many fronts at the same time, striking faster and harder than anyone believed possible. Alien soldiers surrendered in panic. Many had never even seen humans before, but their names were already legend. The story spread like wildfire. Humans who fought without fear. Humans who never stopped. Humans who carried weapons that pierced any shield. Captured commanders spoke with trembling voices. "They do not fight like us," one confessed. "We fight for orders." They fight for something else. Something deeper. Even as Council fleets tried to regroup, their formations fell apart. Human tactics shifted too quickly. Their ships darted in and out of hyperspace, striking like lightning, disappearing before counterattacks could land on one frontier world. An alien admiral stared at the holomap in despair. "They move like predators," he said. "They are not defending, they are hunting." Back on Earth, there was no celebration. Factories still roared, children still studied, soldiers still drilled. Humanity did not pause to cheer. They prepared for more. In the Council chamber, the Chancellor tried to rally his people. His mandibles clashed, his voice thundered. "We are the galaxy's oldest power. We cannot fall to a young, reckless species." But his words rang hollow. Every report that arrived told the same story: defeat, destruction, surrender. In the darkest corners of the galaxy, new whispers spread. "The humans are not fighting for conquest," they said. "They are fighting because the Council left them no choice." And then came the most terrifying rumor of all. Smugglers claimed they had seen not just the Aegis, but 2 more supercarriers rising from hidden shipyards, each one larger than mountains, each one carrying the power to crush fleets alone. If one ship could terrify the galaxy, what would 3 do? The Council no longer mocked. They no longer laughed. Now they argued, they shouted, they clawed at each other in fear. But deep inside, they all knew the truth. The war was no longer at their borders. The war was already inside their heart. And humanity was only just beginning. Asterisk, the price of arrogance. The Council had always believed it was eternal. For thousands of years, no empire had challenged it. Species bent their knees, fleets obeyed, worlds paid tribute. But now, one young race had broken that illusion. Humanity's march spread like fire across dry grass. Every day brought a new report of a fallen system. Every hour carried another warning. Yet even as fear spread, the Council's pride chained them. The Chancellor slammed his claws again, and again on the marble table, his voice thundered across the chamber. We are the galaxy's oldest power. We cannot bow to Earth. We will gather every fleet, every weapon, and we will end this rebellion. But deep inside, even he felt the tremor of fear. Alien generals whispered in corners. Advisors passed secret messages. More than one species began to question their loyalty. If humanity can defeat the Council, one senator whispered, then perhaps we should stand with them instead. For the first time in history, cracks spread inside the mighty Council. Betrayals began in shadows. Fleets deserted their posts. Soldiers laid down their weapons rather than face human fire. Still, the Chancellor refused to see it. His arrogance blinded him. And then came the moment that silenced even his rage. Human fleets appeared at the edge of the capital system. Not one, not 10, but hundreds, and at their center, the Aegis moved like a god of war, its black hull blotting out the stars. Behind it, 2 more supercarriers burned with power. The Council's defenses activated, shields rose, fleets scrambled. The skies above the capital filled with ships, thousands of them. But humanity did not fire immediately. Instead, the Aegis broadcast a single message across every frequency. Every soldier, every leader, every citizen of the Council heard the voice of General Kieran's. You mocked us. You chained us. You called us weak. But now you see the truth. Humanity does not beg. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity marches, and we have come for your throne. The words echoed across the stars, and for the first time, the Council chamber fell into complete silence. Not even a breath, not even a whisper. The Chancellor rose, shaking with rage and fear. They dare threaten us here, in our heart? But before he could continue, another advisor spoke, her voice trembling. They are not threatening, Chancellor. They are promising. Outside, the Council's fleets prepared to defend their homeworld. Thousands of ships formed walls of steel and light. Their engines burned, their weapons glowed. But even the soldiers inside those ships trembled. Many had already fought humans before, and many had already lost. The battle began. The void filled with light. Explosions tore across the black. The Council's fleets hurled everything they had at the humans. But for every human ship destroyed, 3 more appeared. For every defense that rose, another fell. The Aegis moved through the storm like a predator, its massive railguns firing again and again, tearing entire lines of ships apart. The other 2 carriers unleashed waves of drones, swarming like fire across the Council's formations. Hours passed, but the outcome was clear. Humanity was winning back. Inside the Council chamber, panic erupted. Members shouted, screamed, begged for orders. But the Chancellor could no longer hide the truth. His arrogance had cost them everything. Finally, the human message came again, clear and final. Surrender, or your sons will go dark. The words spread across the chamber like ice. Some Council members wept, some shouted in fury. Some simply sat in silence, staring at the floor. The arrogance that once held the Council together had shattered. Now they faced the truth. They had ignored the warning, and the price was their empire. Asterisk. The march of humanity. The skies above the Council capital burned. The proud fleets that once guarded it were gone, torn apart, the wrecks drifting like broken bones across the void. The sound of explosions faded, replaced by silence. The silence of defeat. And then the humans came. From the Aegis and her sister carriers, thousands of troop transports descended. They entered the atmosphere like falling stars, black silhouettes cutting through fire and smoke. Every eye on the capital world turned upward. Every heart beat with dread. The Council's armies tried to rally, but their weapons shook in their hands. They had fought humans before, and they remembered. The humans did not break. They did not stop. They did not fear. The first transports landed, ramps slammed open. Human soldiers marched out in black armor. Their boots struck the ground in perfect rhythm. The sound echoed through the ruined streets like a drumbeat of war. One by one, more soldiers poured into the city, lines stretching as far as the eye could see. They moved not like conquerors, but like executioners carrying out a sentence. Their banners rose above the council's spires, black and silver against the smoke-filled sky. Inside the council chamber, the chancellor and his members trembled as the heavy doors burst open. Human soldiers entered first, their visors glowing, their weapons ready, and behind them walked General Kieran, his presence cold and commanding. He did not shout, he did not rage. His voice was calm as stone. You laughed at us, you mocked us, you said we were weak. Now look around you. This is what your arrogance has brought. The chancellor tried to rise, tried to speak, but his mandibles clicked without sound. His words died in his throat. General Kieran stepped forward, his boots echoing on the polished floor. He looked at the council, the leaders of 1,000 worlds, and declared, "We did not come here to destroy. We came here to end. Humanity does not seek your throne. Humanity does not seek your chains. We seek freedom, and if you will not give it, we will take it." The chamber shook with silence. Not a single voice dared answer. For the truth was already carved in the burning skies outside. The council was finished. One by one, the alien leaders lowered their heads, not out of respect, but out of fear. They had mocked humanity, and now they bowed. Outside, across the capital, humans marched through the streets, their steps heavy, their presence unstoppable. Citizens of 100 alien species watched from the shadows. Some wept, some cursed, but many felt something new relief, for they too had suffered under the Council's arrogance. And in the march of humanity, they saw a different kind of power. The message spread faster than light, carried on every channel, every whisper, every rumor. The humans have taken the council. The humans have rewritten the galaxy. And far away, in distant colonies, children whispered the words that would become legend. They warned them. They ignored it, and now the humans march. General Kieran stood at the highest balcony of the council tower, looking out at the galaxy's heart, now burning with Earth's banners. He spoke quietly, but his words carried farther than any weapon. We did not ask for this war, but we finished it. Remember, this humanity does not kneel. Humanity stands. The galaxy had never seen such a march before. It was not just the march of soldiers. It was the march of a species that refused to be broken. And from that day forward, every world, every empire, every child among the stars remembered the truth. The council never saw it coming, and humanity never stopped. Asterisk.